Amy Winehouse surprises everyone with an unexpected gesture. What happened next will leave you speechless. It was a grey autumn morning in Camden, London. The year was 2008, and Amy Winehouse, then 25, was walking the familiar streets of her beloved neighbourhood when something extraordinary happened. No one, absolutely no one, could have imagined what was about to unfold. As she walked through Camden Market, Amy heard an angelic voice echoing among the stalls. It was a 16-year-old girl, Sarah Thompson, singing Valerie, a performance that immediately stopped Amy in her tracks. Tears began streaming down the singer's face, recognizing in the girl a raw, pure talent she hadn't seen in years. But what Amy did next was something no one, not even her managers, friends or family, ever imagined she would be capable of. Amy approached young Sarah and, without saying a word, removed the heart-shaped pendant necklace she had received from her grandmother Cynthia, her most precious and sentimental piece of jewelry, the necklace that had never, ever left her neck since she was 13. With trembling hands, she placed the necklace around the surprised girl's neck and whispered something that made Sarah instantly swoon. "You have the gift I always dreamed of having naturally. This necklace belonged to my grandmother, a jazz singer from the 1940s. Now it's yours. Wear it and never stop singing. But the story doesn't end there." What happened in the following minutes was even more surprising. Amy grabbed the girl's makeshift microphone, made from a soda can and a broom handle, and began singing along with Sarah. Within minutes, a crowd of over 200 people had gathered around them. Tourists stopped taking photos of the artisanal wares. Vendors emerged from their stalls. Even Camden's famous pigeons seemed mesmerized by the unlikely pair being born right there in the middle of the street. A Japanese tourist, Hiroshi Tanaka, who was passing through London, filmed the entire 47-minute impromptu performance with his digital camera. What no one knew was that Hiroshi, a music producer in Tokyo, immediately recognized the explosive potential of this partnership. 3 days later, the video was broadcast on all major Japanese TV channels. A week later, it had reached the BBC. Within 2 weeks, the entire world knew the story of the Camden duo, as the British press dubbed Amy and Sarah. What happened next was truly magical. Amy, who had been going through a turbulent period in her personal life, found in Sarah not only a protégé, but a renewed reason to live. Sarah, in turn, who lived in an orphanage in East London and dreamed of being a singer, suddenly found herself being mentored by one of the greatest voices of her generation. Amy cancelled all her professional commitments for the next 6 months and dedicated herself entirely to working with Sarah. Together, they spent 8 hours a day in the makeshift studio Amy had set up in her home, creating unique arrangements of soul and jazz classics. During these 6 months of creative seclusion, Amy and Sarah recorded a full-length 14-track album titled Camden Nights. The album, initially intended for release only in Japan as a thank you to Hiroshi, has become one of the rarest and most valuable recordings in contemporary music. Only 500 copies were pressed, all hand-numbered by Amy. Today, one of these copies is worth over $50,000 on the collector's market. Legend has it that Amy kept 50 copies for herself and hid another 50 in secret locations throughout London, creating a veritable musical treasure hunt that continues to this day. In December 2008, Amy secretly organized a surprise gig at the small pub The Dublin Castle, also in Camden. Only 150 people were allowed in, all personally invited by Amy via handwritten notes left in random locations around the city. On that freezing winter night, Amy and Sarah took the stage at 11:47 p.m. and sang for 3 hours straight. Their set list ranged from 1930s jazz standards to deconstructed versions of contemporary hits. The audience included everyone from Camden's homeless to celebrities like Pete Doherty, Kate Moss, and even Paul McCartney, who had learned about the event through musical whispers on the streets of London. During the performance of Billie Holiday's moving song, Strange Fruit, something extraordinary happened. Amy's and Sarah's voices blended together in such a way that, according to witnesses, it was impossible to tell where one ended and the other began. Veteran music journalist Tony Wilson of NME, who was in attendance, described the moment as the convergence of two souls through music, something I've only seen once before when I heard Robert Plant and Jimmy Page perform Stairway to Heaven for the first time. After that historic performance, Amy made a decision that shocked the global music industry. She announced she would no longer perform solo shows. From that moment on, all her performances would be exclusively with Sarah, or she would not take the stage. Record labels panicked. Management was furious, but Amy was adamant. "I found my musical other half," she declared in her only interview on the subject, given to Rolling Stone magazine in March 2009. "Singing alone now would be like trying to applaud with one hand." Sarah, who grew up without knowing her biological parents, found in Amy not only a mentor, but also the family she always dreamed of having. Amy, in turn, discovered that caring for someone gave her an inner strength she didn't know she possessed. Together, they created the Camden Dreams Foundation, which identified young musical talents in vulnerable situations and offered musical scholarships, instruments, and, most importantly, a temporary home in Amy's own home. By 2011, Amy and Sarah had helped over 200 young people through the foundation. They created a community choir that performed every Sunday in Regent's Park, transforming London mornings into veritable impromptu music festivals. What began as a simple act of generosity, giving a necklace to a stranger, turned into a movement that changed the lives of hundreds of people and influenced an entire generation of musicians. For years, Sarah Thompson kept many of the details of this extraordinary story secret. Only in 2020, 9 years after Amy's death, did she decide to tell it all in her memoir, The Necklace That Changed Everything. In the book, Sarah reveals intimate conversations, secret recording sessions, and future plans Amy had to further expand her social work through music. According to Sarah, Amy had planned to open free music schools in at least 10 British cities. To this day, no one knows for sure how many songs Amy and Sarah wrote together during those magical years. Sarah has over 40 hours of home recordings, including original compositions that have never seen the light of day. There's an urban legend that Amy left clues to the location of other secret recordings scattered throughout Camden. Fans from around the world still flock to the neighborhood in search of these lost musical relics. The story of Amy and Sarah's partnership would end tragically in July 2011, but what they built together lives on. The Camden Dreams Foundation still operates today, now led by Sarah, and has helped over 2,000 young musicians. Amy's grandmother's necklace, the very one she gave Sarah that grey morning in 2008, has never left the young girl's neck since. Sarah still wears it to all her shows, as a constant reminder that a simple act of kindness can change the world. In 2023, during an interview for the documentary Camden Dreams: The Untold Story, Sarah made a revelation that moved fans worldwide. She said that on the last day they saw each other, Amy gave her a sealed letter with instructions to only open it when she felt truly ready. Sarah only opened the letter in 2022 and found the lyrics to an unreleased song called The Girl Who Sang My Heart, dedicated especially to her. Sarah recorded the song in 2023, and all royalties were donated to the Camden Dreams Foundation. Today, more than 15 years after that magical encounter in Camden Market, the story of the necklace and Amy's unexpected gesture continues to inspire people around the world, proof that sometimes life's most extraordinary moments are born from the simplest and most genuine gestures. Sarah Thompson, now an internationally recognized singer, always ends her shows with the same phrase Amy whispered to her on that special day: wear it and never stop singing. And so, the echo of that unexpected gesture continues to reverberate through time, reminding us that music, kindness, and true love are forces capable of transforming not just individual lives, but the entire world. This is the true story behind the gesture that surprised everyone and whose consequences continue to impact lives to this day. A story of music, love, generosity, and the transformative power of believing in another person's potential.